One Piece, chapter 1186 just dropped. You know what that means. Gotta get into it, review it, break it down, see what Oda's cooking up. Chapter 1186 is titled Once More. Our cover page, Loki's already got one. It's him drawing a picture of Ida, and she's secretly behind him, looking amused by it. We're already getting Loki in a cover page, a so-called reader request, but you know, I'm gonna continue to use this to push the Loki as a straw hat agenda. We'll get away from that though. On to page one, the meat of the chapter. The war continues on between Asperia and the world government, and Brook is still in shock, looking around the room at these mysterious figures, this gruesome scene. Brook rushes to Reuben's side as the whole room is just staring at him, and he's calling for a medic. He's yelling for Reuben. He's having flashbacks to when they first met in the dump, and this is where we get officially confirmed. We see on the left, on the top, that Emu in fact is taking over St. Marcus Mars. So that is how the Domi Reversi is being performed. And speaking of Emu, as Brook is still shaking Reuven, trying to get him to wake up, still calling for the medic, Emu just says this sudden intrusion is quite the inconvenience. So it's not a big matter at all for Emu, of course. This is just, a minor setback, an easy threat to dispose of. Not even a threat, really. But this is when Shuri, Gunko, speaks up and says, Brook, you know that guy is dead, right? Not even dad, father, nothing, just that guy. And Brook, shocked, turns to the unknown man in the room. We do find out who this is later. We do get a name drop, but for now, he's still the unknown man. And he's like, what have you done to the princess? Like, something's wrong with her. I know everything about her. This is not what she would do. And then that's when Shuri speaks up again and is like, then tell me, Brook, did you know that I'm a celestial dragon? So full reveal right there. It's just some people did think that Candle, was working on the inside as a Holy Knight. She kind of had the Holy Knight drip, so being like semi confirmed, it's a little bit ambiguous still. Of she might be telling the truth, but it's still the Domi Reversi it's not coming out the right way. But yeah, so full drop there. Shuri says that the last 16 years she has been spending has been a waste of time. She could have been a celestial dragon. Reuven's not even her actual dad. And supposedly the world government did not ask for 1,000 slaves. They pretty much just asked for Shuri, and he didn't want to give her up. So that's also very big information that if it's true, it, it does change a little bit, but it's also like if that's your daughter, you're not giving up your daughter either. You would, reasonable to go to war either way. While Brook and Shuri are still arguing back and forth, we get an interruption from the unknown man. This is where we get the official title drop, the name drop. He is a holy knight, and his name is Saint Manmeyer Grow. So no Shiryu relevance there. At least not yet. He just looks very similar, got a lot of the same characteristics. But I do want to talk about Manmeyer because it's a pretty relevant name in this chapter. It seems like this family has something special to get into later, but for right now, the name itself, when Gunko was initially introduced in Elbaf, she did not have a family name, no celestial ties. It was just Holy Knight Gunko. Oda went back, I think, like a couple weeks later before the volume dropped with that chapter in it, and he changed it so that she was in the Manmeyer family. So now this kind of connects. This seems like if Reuven wasn't her real dad, this was her real dad. As we're introduced to Saint Manmeyer Grow, we also find out that he remembers Brook. He remembers a kid with an afro that was among Candel's attendants. And as he looks up to say this, we see his eyes, and he has the heterochromia eyes that Gunko Shuri also has. So I'm thinking that Manmeyer's maybe specifically that family alone can pass this straight down, and we find out even more like why this is important, the eyes specifically. Brook, of course, recognizes the eyes, the similarity, and we get a little monologue generously from St. Grow. And he says typically they wouldn't come to some backwater country all the way down from the Red Line for one kid. But because of these eyes, so special, they made the exception. And we find out especially Emu wants these eyes. They possess a rare trait. So, of course, you know, whatever Emu wants, we're going to go through whatever lengths. The Emu wants to show up to Elbaf, Emu's going to go to Elbaf. Like, whatever Emu says goes. However, in the middle of Gro's monologue, as he starts getting a little bit too specific with the details, he talks about how if the eye's power were to awaken, she might, and then ... and Emu's like, thou hast said too much. Like, Gro, you don't need to be giving him the whole idea, you know, he's seen enough, which I don't know why it matters, because on the next page, Gro pretty much just immediately orders Shuri to kill Brook anyway, so dead men tell no tales. But yeah, Shuri, I mean, following orders of the Domi Reverse, he doesn't have a choice, so immediately starts making her way towards Brook, just head down, sword at the ready. And Brook can't do it. He's like, this has got to be a dream. Like, this can't be real. He's still processing this shit. This is probably all in a matter of minutes. Like, there's, God knows what's running through his brain right now. But, you know, as she's walking towards him, tears run down his face. He's still having flashes to Reuven. He let him down. He's having flashes to Shuri. He's now let her down. And he can't do it. He can't lift his sword. He can't kill his best friend's daughter, like the girl that, like he said, he's changed the diapers of. Like, Shuri winds her sword back and right through Brook's skull stabs him. As we see the lyrics from 2 chapters ago, I think now, the only bones get left behind. And it's just, when I first read this, I thought Brook had died twice. I was like, there's no way. Like, how would he have survived that? But then I forgot, I'm reading One Piece. So it's like, you know, Oda can do whatever he wants, which ends up happening. You know, Brook gets stabbed through the head, falls to the ground, and watches Gunko and Shuri and Gro, walk out of the room and passes out. And then once he comes to, he's got his whole crew around him, you know, I'm assuming the troops that he commanded under the guard. And, oh, it's a miracle, Brook. He's alive. The stab missed all your major blood vessels in your brainstem. I mean, cool. I do think this can contribute to the amnesia aspect, though, like, to a degree, or at least have, like, give some sort of explanation, because I don't think one just takes that kind of brain trauma and isn't affected in some way. It would definitely explain a lot of why, you know, bits and pieces were missing, but, you know, he can't be unscathed from a straight sword to the brain. Like, there's got to be something. This does also confirm a little small detail. It's not much, but Brook does have a little crack on his skull from, I mean, now seeing this, that's obviously what it's from, the sword through the brain. I mean, something to crack his skull permanently like that would definitely have to be quite the blow, and a sword impaling your brain, yeah, I think that might do it. Brook doesn't care about these injuries, though. He just wants to know what happened. Did we win? Did we lose? He doesn't even know if he was dreaming or not. He's probably the most confused fucking man in the world right now, and they confirm for him, we failed, the king is dead. And that's what he gets basically sent right back into the moment that he was in. They tell him that Shuri has left the island on a government ship. Most of the civilians are now gone because it's a lawless land now, so they gotta find somewhere else unless you want to die. So those people will be taken in as refugees, and just in the middle of them explaining this to him, he loses it again. Just, I mean, complete mental breakdown, tears running down his face, reopens his wounds. It's just as if Brook's backstory wasn't enough. It's just, we see that it was even worse for him. Just as I predicted, we are out of the flashback this chapter. It was about halfway through. I didn't think we needed much more from that story for the time being. But we are back in the present, and we're on Skeleton Brook. And he's like, back then, I didn't even know what a devil fruit was. So, once again, how the fuck did this man get his devil fruit? When are we going to see that, Oda? Anyways, yeah, and then we also kind of find out where his head was at in terms of recognizing the things like Domi Reversi and the Elders, and he basically says he thought it was all a dream. He thought he was just hallucinating this whole time. And then once he saw it actually in front of him, realized that, oh shit, this is real. And then he asked the crew if it's okay if he puts his faith in Princess Shuri once more. Title drop. And he's like, if she's a victim, then I want to save her. Like, if that wasn't her the whole time and she was actually being controlled, then she deserves a second chance. He then asks Frankie, Nami, Jinbei, Usopp, all the present Straw Hat members to lend him their strength to free her from the ice. And they all get ready. Jinbei's like, I'm going to smash that shit. Nami's like, does lightning work on it? Frankie's like, I'm radical beaming this. But as soon as everybody's loading up, throw their attacks, Brook just, like he did earlier when he went to go fight Gunko Shuri for the first time, just goes zooming off. And everybody's like, whoa, like, where the fuck are you going? And then we cut away to the Walrus School cafeteria where Luffy has just been munching and munching, and he's finally ready to go. We see him kick off the Elbaf boots. He's like, this new guy is Elbaf's enemy, right? Then he's my enemy too. And we see as he stomps down, he was wearing the sandals on in the boots? Or he just manifested the sandals? What the hell happened here? Regardless, with a mouthful of food, he says, I'm overflowing with power. The way I'm feeling right now, I don't think I can lose. And he just breaks the sound barrier and goes flying off. Don't worry, we're about to see him in a second. Also, side note, Luffy saying, I don't think I can lose. He's gonna lose. But we're back at Loki versus Emu. Loki still got Ragnar in hand, and Emu's just aura farming, sitting on air, literally crisscross applesauce. And Loki goes, targeting the kids. The world government sure plays dirty. And Emu just goes, do you know the reason why? Shall I enlighten you on why I'm targeting kids? And he just drops it. 800 years ago, the giant race was defeated in a bid to rescue their children. So basically, he's already done it once. Might as well just do it again. Like, I'm just gonna stick with what works. Loki's like, 800 years ago, like, what are you talking about? And he was like, 800 years isn't nearly enough time for an entire race to change their nature. Like, you guys are exactly the same. You always bend the knee when your child is in danger, which can just be said really about anybody in the One Piece verse. Like, if their child, like, look at Ryuven. His child's in danger, he would rather go to war with the world government. Like, basically suicide. So, like Dragon said, Takuma, a child is a parent's weakness. Like, this is a very just reoccurring theme already. So, Emu already knows, and it confirms, like, history repeats itself. Basically just confirming I'm going to keep on doing it as long as it works. And then Emu drops, 'tis already too late, thou art all slaves of Mu. So he thinks he's already won this battle at this point. And Loki's like, you prick, what are you talking about? Goes to swing. And then Luffy from fucking right behind Loki, after flying, he's still hitting that fucking trajectory. And he's just, hey, dumbass, completely fucking gum pistol, loads that shit back. Emu's like, huh? And just get off of Elbaf, throws a massive hockey punch, similar to the one that he threw at the Celestial Dragon. Obviously no hockey, but the Celestial Dragon in Sabaody, it's like a shot for shot, the way the face is and everything. I was not expecting Luffy to just come and off guard Emu like that, but hey, you know, that's probably going to be one of the very few hits he lands in this fight, if I'm being honest. This is also base Luffy. This is no gears, no anything, but yeah, no, it's still, it's going to be short-lived for sure. This is exactly what I saw coming, though. You know, get out of the flashback, and then, you know, after all these, like, chapter break week, Oda was definitely gonna be getting us back into the main, like, what he left us off on. So I definitely saw, like, a big turn in the fight at the end of this chapter, or like a big step towards the plot. Because I mean, this is basically it. I mean, if Loki and Luffy lose, it's over. Like, these are the best hopes that they have. So we'll see. I do think this fight will go at least one, maybe two chapters. Probably about one chapter of Emu just kind of feeling it out and, you know, testing their strength in person. And then I think the chapter after that, it's going to be wraps, probably locks in, and even Luffy in Gear 5 and Loki in Hybrid or whatever he's in at that point, if he even has the energy for another transformation. Yeah, they're probably going down. I think they get saved by time limit. I think Emu's not going to have the power to be able to stay there for too much longer. They've already been there for way longer than I'm sure the elders or anybody else on Marijois wants them there. So yeah, it's that I think the only way they're getting saved this time. The only other way I could see this going is maybe Oda wanting to mix in some of the other Elbaf plot points in with this fight. I would prefer that we just got a whole chapter of Luffy and Loki versus Emu. I don't think it'll happen though. We'll probably get someone making an attempt to save the kids. I know before Brook's flashback, we saw that Sanji showed up there. It was like, what the hell is going on? So maybe him and Killingham's rematch gets going. Um, yeah, maybe Scopper and Chopper are up to something. I think we'll see some of the other parts. Oda doesn't usually just give us it all in one go unless it's like a flashback like this. I really hope he does, but like I said, chances are probably not. But with that, we are not on break next week, so I'll be right back here to review 1187. Hopefully Luffy and Loki versus Emu just right off the bat. I want to see the interaction. I want to see Loki go Gear 5, but we'll have to wait. And until the next one, I will see you guys next time. Peace.